1% mindset, the price of becoming extraordinary. Most people want extraordinary results. They want financial freedom. They want confidence. They want respect. They want mastery. They want purpose. But very few people want the process that creates those things. Everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to hunt. That's the difference between the 99% and the 1%. The 1% mindset isn't magical. It's not some secret formula hidden from the rest of society. It's simply a willingness to do what most people refuse to do. The boring work, the repetitive work, the lonely work, the work nobody applauds. Imagine two people planting trees. One plants a seed and digs it up every week to check if it's growing. The other waters it every day for 10 years. Who gets the forest? The second person. Not because they're more talented, because they're willing to embrace monotony. The 1% mindset understands something the 99% never learn. Greatness is usually boring. It's waking up early when nobody is watching. It's sticking to a budget. It's reading another chapter. It's practicing another repetition. It's doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. And because so few people are willing to do that, the rewards become extraordinary. But then something uncomfortable happens. The journey begins exposing you. Every weakness, every insecurity, every excuse, every limitation. Most people think they're fighting the world. They're not. They're fighting themselves. The 1% mindset is like standing in front of the world's most honest mirror. The reflection doesn't lie. It reveals your laziness, your procrastination, your fear, your lack of discipline, your emotional weaknesses. And that's why so many people quit. Not because the journey is hard. It's the self-confrontation that is hard. It's easier to blame circumstances. It's easier to blame luck. It's easier to blame other people. It's much harder to look inward and say, I am the obstacle. But that's where transformation begins. Because once you can identify the problem, you can improve it. Iron becomes steel through fire. Diamonds are created through pressure. And human beings become extraordinary through honest confrontation. As this process continues, something fascinating begins to happen. You change, not a little, dramatically. The 99% version of you and the 1% version of you are almost two different people. The way you think changes. The way you spend time changes. The way you react changes. The way you view opportunities changes. The way you handle adversity changes. Eventually, you'll look back at your old self and barely recognize that person. And people around you will notice too. Some will admire it. Some will feel inspired by it. Some will become uncomfortable because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. That's one of the strange realities of self-improvement. People often celebrate change in theory, but resist it in practice, especially when the change happens close to them. Don't let that stop you. A caterpillar doesn't ask permission before becoming a butterfly. Transformation is part of growth, and growth always requires change. Then comes the part nobody likes talking about. Sacrifice. Everybody admires greatness. People see championships. They don't see the 4 a.m. training sessions. People see success. They don't see the years of uncertainty. People see the mountain peak. They don't see the climb. Think about Muhammad Ali. He's considered among the 1% because he was willing to sacrifice fame, money, and years of his boxing career for his convictions while still becoming one of the greatest athletes in history. Think about Kobe Bryant, considered among the 1% because he trained harder, longer, and more consistently than almost everyone around him, turning extraordinary discipline into legendary performance. Think about Khabib Nurmagomedov, considered among the 1% because of his lifelong dedication to mastery, relentless preparation, and ability to maintain elite standards. Because of that sickening level of discipline, he has a perfect, undefeated professional record in MMA. Think about David Goggins, considered among the 1% because he repeatedly chose extreme discomfort and self-discipline to push beyond perceived physical and mental limits. Is there any doubt in anybody's mind that they paid the price? The world celebrates their victories, But their victories were merely the visible result of invisible sacrifice. Hours became years. Years became decades. Comfort was exchanged for mastery. Convenience was exchanged for greatness. The truth is simple. You cannot become extraordinary while living an ordinary level of commitment. The equation doesn't work. And here's another truth most people miss. The 1% mindset is deeply connected to self-sufficiency. The 99% wait. The 1% build. The 99% look for rescue. The 1% become capable. The 99% ask, who will help me? The 1% ask, how can I solve this? Self-sufficiency creates power, because the more capable you become, the less dependent you become on circumstances. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You start creating results anyway, like a skilled sailor navigating a storm. They don't control the ocean, but they know how to work with the waves, and that changes everything. Another overlooked trait of the 1% is delayed gratification. Most people trade their future for immediate comfort. The 1% trades immediate comfort for a better future. One person spends 10 years consuming entertainment. The difference doesn't seem dramatic after one day, or 1 month, or even 1 year. But after a decade, the gap becomes enormous. The compound effect starts looking like magic. Except it isn't magic. It's just discipline multiplied by time. And perhaps the most powerful trait of all is personal responsibility. The 1% mindset refuses to surrender ownership. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It matters whose responsibility it is. That's a different way of thinking, powerful way of thinking, because responsibility creates control, and control creates progress. Which brings us to the final question. Are you willing to put yourself through hell to arrive at your personal paradise? Because hardship is guaranteed either way. The hardship of the 99% is often passive. Life happens to them. Bills happen. Problems happen. Stress happens. Regret happens. The hardship of the 1% is chosen. They willingly train. They willingly sacrifice. They willingly endure discomfort. They willingly carry burdens today to create freedom tomorrow. One path leads to growth. The other leads to stagnation. And make no mistake, this isn't a 1-year commitment. This isn't a 6-month challenge. This might be 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, maybe longer. The question is not whether the road is difficult. I'll tell you right now, the path of 1% is most difficult road you'll ever walk. The question is, does the destination matters enough to you? Because if the dream is worthy enough, if the purpose is meaningful enough, if the vision pulls hard enough, then the sacrifice stops feeling like suffering. It starts feeling like investment. One day you'll wake up and realize something remarkable. The person you wanted to become is staring back at you in the mirror. Stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more capable, more resilient. And you'll understand that the greatest reward wasn't the money, the success, or the recognition. The greatest reward was becoming the kind of person capable of earning those things. That's the 1% mindset, not a destination, a way of living, a commitment to becoming everything you're capable of becoming.